Hey, guess who got a new webcam? This guy right here. I figured I'd upgrade before I start my new show, but what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Hopefully you guys can hear me. On my microphone, I'm upgrading all the equipment. I just gotta make my quote-unquote studio look better. But that'll come within the next couple weeks. Volume's very low. Am I not talking into this loud enough? Is that the problem? Test, test. This is a test. Still very low. It does sound good now? Okay, cool. So what's up, everybody? This is the last one of these that I'm doing on the No DQ side before I start doing more streams on the Greg Cherry Brand channel. I figure I have to grow that at some point. Can't just be Wrestling Trivia Challenge. By the way, how'd you enjoy Wrestling Trivia Challenge? Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat. Good start. Who was better, Earthquake or Tugboat? I would actually probably give the nod to Earthquake on that one. Tugboats, Typhoon, whatever you want to call him. He was good. I mean, the Shockmaster was a disaster, but overall I think Earthquake was better. But yeah. I wasn't really home this week, so I didn't have time to like set something up. As far as and there he goes. Yeah, as far as setting up a better looking studio, especially this is the first time I'm using this webcam. I literally just opened the box about 15 minutes ago. So I'm definitely going to test how things look and get a more professional look to the Greg Cherry Show when that starts. And also just in case I get called upon for various other podcasting or video show adventures. But yeah, it's... let's make this one a good one today. Let's make this... I want like all the entrances today. That's what I want. I want to do all the entrances, bunch of songs, maybe give away a shirt or two. We'll see what happens. Greg Cherrymark is asking, is the hacker the leader of it's Retribution, not Revolution. Revolution was in WCW. Retribution, I don't know. I feel like it's a bunch of 205 Live guys. I really do. It makes no sense to me what they would be doing otherwise. And they're crossing brands, so clearly they don't care about that. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on it and then be disappointed later if it's not who we think it are. Be like, oh, this would make sense. I feel like it's maybe a couple people that were released back in April, and then possibly a couple people from 205 Live, because none of them are very tall. I wonder if they're going to get rid of the group of ninjas on Raw, too. It's like, you got ninjas, now you got Revolution. It's like, you got way too many masked people and not a cruiserweight division. But anyway. Mike Nixon says, how you doing, Greg? Sorry I haven't been around lately. I've been very busy. I completely understand. I completely get it. I just hope you're able to tune into the Greg Cherry Show when it starts the day after SummerSlam. And follow me on Twitter so you can get the notification of when it goes live. I'm going to mess with... See, I'm using Streamlabs right now. I'm probably going to use StreamYard or something like that when I start the Greg Cherry Show. Again, not just the wrestling show. It'll be a little bit of everything. It'll be sports. Wrestling will be there too, because of course it will. Entertainment, what's trending, news, all that fun stuff. All wrapped up into one. And of course, it's just my commentary on everything. But hey. Mike Gonzalez says, your opponent got cocky before the match on Trivia Challenge, and then it turned into Cena versus Lesnar from SummerSlam 2014. Yeah, it's funny when people think that they know so much about wrestling trivia, and then when I come defend the championship and smack him in the mouth, it's like, oh well. Not that Scott was a bad opponent. Scott was actually one of the better ones. He got a few towards the end, so the score didn't look as lopsided as the match actually was. But yeah, I'd like to have Scott on again if we do like contenders tournament again. It really depends, and I've said this from the beginning. It really depends on the questions you get. Because if you get questions where you either know the stuff or you don't. And if you don't happen to know that stuff, at least take an educated guess. And that's the way it's always been. If you don't know, take a guess, use a skip. One of the two. Scott used his skip very early. Then again, so did I. But, yeah, it was a good match. Still champion. Getting close to the 900 mark. Trying to go for the 1,000, but we'll see if we get there. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. Most shocking wrestling news story from the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s in your opinion. The 90s was probably Owen Hart. Either that or the Hogan steroid, like the Vince McMahon steroid trial. Those are two pretty big stories in the 90s. 2000s, definitely Benoit. And 2010s, I would still say probably the CM Punk pipe bomb, if I had to be honest. Which crossover match will steal the show? Omega versus Rollins or Adam Cole versus Hangman? I don't think Omega and Rollins have ever gone one-on-one, so that would definitely be an interesting match to watch. So I'd probably go with that one. What's up, Matt Helms? How you doing? Adrian says sex chat as well. Well, I do have various other segments that I'm planning for the show. I'm not going to go into the details of it because, the show has to debut, and I'm taking next week off. Like, after this stream, I am taking until after SummerSlam off, mainly because of luck of the draw this coming weekend, but I need time to, like, re-energize and get back into the swing of things. So I'm going to take that week off. I'm going to take all the way till SummerSlam. And then I'll be back streaming on my channel. So go check it out. YouTube.com/GregCherryBrand. Greg Cherry Brand everywhere. If you don't follow me, why don't you? Retribution group will be Drake Maverick, Leo Rush, Eric Rowan, Chelsea Green, and Vanessa Bourne. Well, it's not Eric Rowan because I don't think any of them were that tall. Like I said, I think it's a bunch of 205 Live guys and maybe a couple release people. Big Baller G with a $20 super chat. Here's to you, Greg. Can't wait to co-host the new show when football starts. Well, I'll definitely have you on for the NFL talk. I'm not sure which days of the week that will be, but I'll try and make sure you're on. How do you think the Steelers will do this season? I think Ben will win comeback of the year. Well, as long as his arm holds up and as long as that offensive line protects him, it's not going to be a problem. Everybody's underestimating Big Ben because it's like, oh, yeah, it's like major elbow surgery he's coming off of at the end of last season. Let me tell you what, if the second and third string quarterbacks nearly got the Steelers to the playoffs, When you put a two-time Super Bowl champion back in the saddle as quarterback, say nothing. Don't say anything about, oh, he's old. He's class of 2004. It's like, does that really matter? I mean, I think Ben is going to have a spectacular year. And especially with the core wide receivers he's got. And especially with the addition of Chase Claypool from Notre Dame. It's going to be awesome. All right. Big G, let's get your first of two spins. Here we go. That was a weak-ass spin. But it's an entrance. You get an entrance for the first one? What's up, Ken? How you doing? Entrance. All right. It was stuck on it, so. Two entrances, Big G. Mr. Anderson says, in my opinion, Mason Rudolph should be the Steelers starter. Not when you have Roethlisberger. I don't mind Mason Rudolph, but there's a reason he's a backup. There's a reason why Duck Hodges is a backup. You're not going to get the production out of them that you will get out of Big Ben Roethlisberger. It's just not going to happen. And again, we'll talk. We'll talk more about this in the coming weeks on the Greg Cherry Show. We definitely will. Because I'm going to have like topics that I want to talk about, and I'm my own producer, so if I go over, I go over. So it's whatever. So, Big G, let me know which two entrances you want, and I will do them. And hopefully I won't have to move the camera too much. I might actually just tilt it up a little bit and it'll be good for the rest of the show. Now that I got the 1080 webcam. I think I just had like a 720 webcam before, and now I got the 1080. I'm moving up in the world. I have not talked about Raw Underground. I saw... There's been questions about what my thoughts on Raw Underground were. Let me put it this way. I always loved Shane McMahon. He's a bit player in this. And everybody's burying it as like, oh, it's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid. It's like, it's been on TV for an hour. You cannot judge something and its entirety, like, as a whole. You cannot judge something as a whole based on 1 hour of TV. You just straight up can't do it. And do you know why you can't do it? Because you have no idea what direction they're going. Do they? Maybe. I'm not going to give them complete credit, but at least give it a chance. Every time you wonder why they don't push new stars, well, they just introduced a new concept and you buried it. Eventually, wrestling fans are going to have to take some responsibility for why things aren't changing in WWE. Eventually they will. But a lot of them just want whatever they want. And if anything goes against what they want, then they bury it. They don't understand the wrestling business as much as they think. And it drives me insane. I saw so many Twitter posts burying Raw Underground. And even from like some wrestling journalists being like, oh, this is... Well, let me tell you what. Wrestling is very subjective. But you gotta give things a chance. You can't just crap over everything because you don't understand it right away. If all stories were self-contained to one episode of Raw, and then they moved on to a new story every single week, would wrestling even still exist? You have to have long-term storytelling. Give it more than one episode of a show. I saw people burying the retribution thing. It's like, okay, it's interesting. Is it kind of like Nexus? Sure. But Nexus fizzled out because John Cena came in to bury them. So let's see where this goes. If it's more of the same, then we'll bury it too. Because, hindsight's 2020. Foresight is apparently blind as a bat. But give it a chance, guys. Aaron didn't like it. Well, and it's like I said, and I'll disagree with Aaron on that. It's you got to give things a chance. If you don't give things a chance, how are we supposed to evolve from where wrestling is? You can't just do formulaic matches and formulaic storylines every week. You need to shake things up a little bit. And if you don't like the shake up and you just like formulaic wrestling, it's like just buy the network and don't watch any of the current product. Buy the nostalgia. Because if that's what you want, you have your option to watch it. Just watch that. But if you're going to watch the current product, give it a chance to evolve. It's not going to be the Attitude Era. It's not going to be the New Generation or the Golden Era. It's not even going to be the Ruthless Aggression Era. You got to give it a chance to develop. Is Big G still here? Oh, okay, I see it. Sasha with the new theme and Matt Riddle. Okay, I got you on both of those. Sasha first, and Curtis. No, you're not late. It's like I started at 10 after 3, so you're not late. You got time. But yeah, Big G, Sasha Banks entrance, and Matt Riddle. So here we go. I can't move that as much because I think I gotta like screw it in or something. But we'll figure it out as the show goes along. Alexa, make Man Cave blue. I wonder why my volume is so low today. I don't understand why. And yeah, Curtis, I actually upgraded my equipment so it doesn't look like I'm filming off of a potato. Now, did somebody... I will, BG, I will. Did somebody actually say that Wrestling Trivia Challenge is rigged? Why can't I get the credit that I know more about wrestling than many other people? Let me put it this way. If Wrestling Trivia Challenge was rigged, it would be the only championship I have. But it's not. I have the Mark Ward Order Championship. In about 3 weeks, I'm challenging for the Talkamania Trivmania Championship. And then eventually the main goal is to get on Quizzlemania and win their championship. Granted, that's not completely wrestling trivia, but it's got the most eyes on it. So yeah, I want to make it there. But people sitting here and telling me, oh, Wrestling Trivia Challenge is rigged because Greg wins all the time, or I'm that damn good. Am I seriously echoing again? What is up with YouTube? Honestly. I gotta hear this for myself. I do this every week, and I don't understand why it's a constant issue. I'm echoing. Whatever. I can't control that. I don't know why it's a constant issue. It is what it is. Regardless, I guess I'll have to... I guess for the entrances, if we do more, I'll have to leave the phone a lot closer to the microphone so you guys can hear it. Because for whatever reason, yeah, the echoing is what it is. It'll disappear. I'm hoping that's an issue that's fixed when I start doing StreamYard for the Greg Cherry Show, but we'll see. Yeah, if you watch the episode... what was it? About a month ago, I faced Josh Dionio. If you want to talk about rigged matches, that one sure as hell wasn't rigged, because that one was close to the very end. And it's one of those things, you know stuff or you don't, and the stuff that he did not know bit him in the end, because I did. I'll never understand the Wrestling Trivia Challenge's rig thing. Do you think that my ego is that fragile that I need people to rig a wrestling trivia competition for me? Come on, guys. I know I'm doing this whole build up to 1,000 thing, and that's honestly a good achievement. And if I knew that any of those episodes were rigged, if I knew that any of those episodes were not in my favor or were in my favor slightly, that's like, oh yeah, it's like Jeff and Greg worked on these before. It's like, no. If I knew that was the case for any of my episodes, I wouldn't be lauding this 1,000 day thing. It'd just be like, oh, whatever, I just play it up as a heel. No, Wrestling Trivia Challenge is 100% legitimate. 100%. I don't know the questions beforehand. The opponent doesn't know the questions beforehand. Only Jeff and Mikey know the questions beforehand. That's it. The host does not tell anybody. The host never, as long as I've been doing it, has never let the contestant in on the questions. I didn't do it while I was hosting. That's why you saw a title change hands a couple times during season 3. But to call it rigged is an insult to me. It's just a straight up insult. Because then you question the whole validity of the show. It's like, oh, does Greg even really know that much about wrestling? Yes. I have great retention. Sue me. But don't call it rigged. What's up to this guy experience? Kevin says, what is the problem about wrestling fans to have a petition like Justice for Alexa Bliss? You know, in this day and age, I think it's alarming how many people don't know that wrestling is a work. Either they're in denial or... And it's very possible, because you have to realize the internet wrestling community, like people that watch the shows like I do, and people that comment on wrestling shows all the time, we're the smarks, you know. We're the ones who kind of know what the business is, blah, 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 blah. But there are a lot of people out there that don't know that wrestling is a work. They think it's all 100% shoot. And I'm not just talking kids. I'm talking about like grown-ass adults think that wrestling is real. And you know what? I'm not going to be the one to shatter the illusion for them. Unless they're watching, then I guess I did. But I don't know. How do you tell people that it's just a television program? It doesn't carry over into real life. Ken, I know you're coming in defense of me, but don't abuse your mod powers, please. But anyway. Cody Fosterling says, you ready for football without fans? I am ready for football all the time. They just got to straighten out their schedules, and by the time September gets here, I'll be happy. And I'll be able to comment on it more. And I'm sure it'll be crazy the couple weeks leading up to it, but I'm going to try to do shows that aren't on the same... doing the shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday like I'm planning, they won't cancel out actual like sports going on, fortunately. It might with baseball, because baseball runs all the time. Not necessarily come October, but it's going to be fine. But yes, I am ready for football. Definitely am. Yeah, Adrian's right, Ken. Like, I can defend myself. I know it in my heart. WTC is not rigged. I mean, if it was rigged for just me, I would never have lost the championship in season 2. But I did. We're over it. discussion's there. WTC is not rigged. It never has been, and it never will be. The minute that starts getting rigged, I want nothing to do with it. Cody's asking, are you more into NFL or college? I'm actually more into college football. As you can see right over here on my wall, Notre Dame play like a champion today poster. Big fan of my Fighting Irish. Also Pittsburgh Steelers. Talked about that consistently. But yeah, I love watching college football. It's one of the closest connections I have with my dad. And we talk about Notre Dame football all the time. We talk about football. We talk about the Yankees baseball. Sometimes Steelers football. But it's mostly Notre Dame. So yeah, I genuinely enjoy watching it. As frustrated as I might be at the players, which is really any passionate football fan. But yeah, I think I'm into college more than the NFL. Mike Gonzalez says, better heel in their primes, Orton or Edge? I would say probably... that's a tough one because Orton is really damn good at being a heel. But so is Edge. I mean, they're pretty close to each other. Adrian with the €10 super chat. Are you into other sports, Greg, like golf, soccer, tennis, etc.? My main sports that I watch are baseball, football, hockey. I can get into... I'm weird because I can get into darts too, which is actually very competitive. It just depends. I also watch televised bowling too, and like that used to be like every Sunday for me. I would just sit down and watch televised bowling on ESPN. As far as golf and soccer, football in Europe, never really got into them. Same with basketball. I never really got into basketball. I played basketball in school, but I never got into the fan side of it. And tennis, I don't know. I've tried watching Wimbledon a couple times, and it's like, okay, well, I understand after like playing it how it's scored, but it's not anything that I can sit down and watch. Kind of like NASCAR. It's like there's so many people who are NASCAR fans. I'm not crapping on you if you are. I don't get the appeal. I never have. Because it's just cars driving. It's like, okay. Maybe it's just me. Curtis Butler says the only thing rigged is Quizzlemania not putting Greg on their show. They need to explain themselves. I'm telling you guys, next Quizzlemania, which I believe is this Wednesday, and you have to super chat, otherwise your stuff isn't read. Bombard them asking them to put me on the show. Especially since I think there's going to be 8 different people on there. And Brian Zane, who I faced before in Trivia Challenge, is going to be on that show. So he knows what I'm about. And I think he's actually brought it up on the show before. But we got to get the Cherry for Quizzlemania train going. And I can be the conductor, but I can't be the only passenger. Mr. Anderson says, speaking of football, what do you think of Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole? I'm going to be hopeful for it. You know, maybe McAfee's been training in wrestling and he's going to do some amazing things. I mean, football players tend to make pretty decent wrestlers. They honestly do. I mean, The Rock, Lex Luger was pretty decent. Goldberg had a good career. I know there's many others that played football. I mean, Roman Reigns played football. Cena played football. I know I'm missing a ton of others. Monty Brown played football, I'm pretty sure. I love Monty Brown. I go over that all the time. And it's a shame he doesn't want to come back to wrestling. Because, damn, he was so good. So underappreciated. I owe Adrian a spin. an entrance, Adrian. There you go. Yeah, Mongo. I watched the clip of Mongo winning the United States Championship. And the pop that it got by him beating Jarrett was insane. But then again, it was during peak WCW versus WWE. Mongo winning the U.S. title. Unbelievable. So yeah, Adrian, you have an entrance yet? All right, please don't fight in the chat. I know this is the last stream I'm doing, but come on, guys. Let's move on from it. Yeah, Kurt Hennig did defeat Mongo for the U.S. title. Thankfully, McMichael's title reign wasn't very long. I think it was only about a month or so, maybe less. But I mean, at that time, the popularity of anybody involved in wrestling was extremely high. So yeah, Steve McMichael, not the best in-ring worker. Although I will give Mongo this. He did treat every match like it was a shoot. Give him credit for that, at least. Pillman was a football player. Like I said, there are so many wrestlers that have played football before that had stellar careers. So will Pat McAfee be one of them? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It was cool to see D'Angelo Williams, who's a former Pittsburgh Steeler, in the ring with Impact. And he was a huge wrestling fan. And you see that typically football players tend to be wrestling fans. I mean, Roethlisberger hosted Raw and brought his entire offensive line with him. And they had the stuff with DX. So, there you go. Mike Gonzalez, who's the bigger star, Hulk Hogan or John Cena? In this day and age, I'd probably say Cena. Overall, as far as popularity and drawing power, I'd probably say Hogan. David, let me tell you something. What's your excuse for the first year plus of my title reign when I was on Aaron's channel? Was it rigged then? Do you think I put the show on my channel just so I could win all the time? Aaron didn't want to produce the show anymore because it took up way too much of his time. And Jeff and I wanted to keep the show going because we like the show. And we put it on my channel just to get more traction on my channel and to get more viewers over there. Not for some ego boost. Heck, I even added stuff to the show to make it more of a presentation. Why do you think it's just all about... Yeah, it's called the Greg Cherry brand. And I constantly win matches, but that's because I'm the better opponent. Not because of it being rigged. If that's what you want to believe, fine, but don't watch the show. And if I somehow lose before the 1,000, you're going to be like, oh, well, he planned that. Just to get more people talking about it. No, I'm trying to get people to talk about, hey, I'm almost champion for 1,000 days. I didn't defend the title for a year because nobody wanted to challenge me. We were going to revive Wrestling Trivia Challenge last May after the Iron Man match. And Aaron asked for challengers, and nobody wanted to show up. And then Jeff took over the show in like June or something like that and asked for challengers for about a year before people stepped up. I can't beg people to challenge me if they don't want to face me. If they're scared to death that I'm going to beat them in wrestling trivia, which I do, then that's their problem. I can't line up people just to be like, hey, just be a placeholder on this show. No, people actually want to be on the show. What good would it do me if I'm just pointing out random people who don't know anything about wrestling? That would actually make the show look worse, wouldn't it? Wouldn't I want guys that actually know about wrestling and want to give me a challenge that would be like, wow, that was a good episode? Just because I slaughter some guys, it's like their retention and their wrestling trivia acumen is not as popular. And yeah, Jeff is. That's hard to believe that no one wanted to challenge you. I was ready to defend my title last May. Jeff put it out there multiple times on his social media. Hey, if you want to challenge Greg for Wrestling Trivia Challenge, message him. Nobody messaged him. Again, I can't control that. I can't find my own challengers. I can't write my own questions. Why is this so hard to believe? Now you're coming in here so when Aaron was doing the show, was it rigged then? It was like, oh no, it was on Aaron's channel. It was straight up, and now it's on Greg's channel. He's the champion. Oh, it's rigged. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And you're basically discrediting everything I know about wrestling. You are. Yeah, we couldn't find anybody for a year. Jeff messaged in June, in August, in October, like at least a couple times every couple months. I was like, dude, I want to defend my title again. I want to do Trivia Challenge again. Maybe people were busy or something. Maybe the pandemic put everybody at home and then they were like, oh, I guess we have time. I don't know people's schedules. I mean, do you want to challenge me? Do you want to prove how rigged it is? If you think it's so rigged? Since clearly I don't know anything about wrestling. Come on the next show. I have no problem with that. We might have a spot open. I mean, granted, we have a lot of our challengers lined up until the end of the season now that we had to find. And it wasn't until I made a video in like February or something. It's like, hey, I'm ready to defend my title. But nobody stepped up in the last few months. And then finally people started responding. It's like, oh, okay. But anyway. Cody Fosterling says, MJF is the greatest thing going in any wrestling promotion. He's only 24. He can go down as one of the greatest of all time. MJF, I think, is going to dethrone Moxley, and I think he has to. Which seems like it won't make sense if Cody ends up like turning heel or something. Because MJF turned heel. It's like you can't make Cody a bigger heel than MJF. You just can't do it. Devi, throw questions at me right now. Ask me questions. Go ahead. Since you think I apparently don't know a damn thing about wrestling. Throw me a question right now in the chat. Throw it to me. Jeff's not here. Throw it to me. Go. Go ahead. I mean, why are you even watching this show if you just want to take a crap all over my title reign? Don't time him out. Don't time him out. I want him to throw me a question. But he's not going to. He's just going to bitch. So if he just bitches, then time him out. But if he actually throws me a question, then I'll answer it. Yeah, Adrian, we got back to it because that's all this idiot's talking about. Uh, 42nd Street Matthew says, I really do like MJF, but MJF 2020 is so close to EC3 for Champ 2015. Some of the verbiage is exactly the same. Well, you figure, I'm sure there was some inspiration from that. And maybe he just made it his own. There were a lot of comparisons to that segment that were made. I'm hoping now that EC3 is back with Impact. Is he officially back? He's been on the shows a couple times, but I don't know if he's like officially back yet. But I hope I think he's going to have a completely different run than he did in Impact the first time. Like he's going to be out on a mission. It's okay. We're not gonna let the trolls get to us. This Adrian, did you ever give me an entrance? Did I miss it? You earned one. I just wasn't sure if I saw it. Yeah, I don't think I ever got it. Um, I must have missed your question too, Cody. I'm sorry. I'm jumping all over the chat, so that's my fault. Adrian, I need your entrance, and then we'll get to Cody's question here in a second. Curtis says, I wanted this to be a good day and ignore the trolls. Well, actually, Curtis, I want to look at something real quick. You said you're a Yankees fan. Oh, they're still winning. Cool. Ah. Oh, no, they're not. Damn it. They're tied. Oh, looky. Sean Ross Sapp on my Twitter. Yay. Yankees are tied. They were up 3-0. What happened? It's crazy. Trying to follow along with baseball is... No, you're fine. Oh, Mr. Perfect. Okay. Warhawk Rambo says EC3 reinvented himself. Yes, he did. Actually, Ken Psychojet Black gave me my first super chat of the day. He was asking about the natural disasters. Cody, which city hosted SummerSlam 1990? The lesser city in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I'm kidding. Philly's not that bad. I've actually never been there. Just giving out a hard time. Yeah, Mike, you can ask one. I need to make sure I have a towel in here to do Mr. Perfect's entrance. Kind of wish I had some chewing gum. But yeah, Mr. Perfect's entrance is coming up for you, Adrian. I don't need to change the lights or anything because you didn't do a whole lot of light changing in the early 90s. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get a towel for Perfect's entrance. Mike Gonzalez's question is, who's the only wrestler to beat Triple H, John Cena, CM Punk, and The Rock at WrestleMania? Randy Orton. All right, I'll be back. Mr. Anderson, Cena can't beat himself. I mean, he could, but that's not PG. All right. Perfect's entrance. Here we go. Maybe you guys can hear it this time. There you go, Adrian. Let's hope I don't have to move that too much. No, I don't. I'm just really low in the shot. Yeah, it's a shame Mr. Perfect was never world champion. I gotta fix that. That's gonna drive me nuts. I'm surprised. I'm surprised Perfect was never world champion too. WTC question for Greg: who is the only wrestler to go undefeated at WrestleMania? Van Dam's undefeated. There's actually a few wrestlers that are undefeated at WrestleMania, but Van Dam has the longest streak. Ken, wait till I get the question. What do The Rock and Billy Kidman have in common? They both faced Hogan on pay-per-view. That's a true statement. That was a weird storyline though, the Hogan and Kidman one. Both have victories over Hogan and Cena. Yeah, I keep forgetting that Kidman probably faced heel Cena at that point because it wasn't heel Kidman in '04 that would have faced John Cena. I couldn't see that happening. Yeah, there wasn't really a good time to put the belt on Mr. Perfect. Shame to say. Um, I mean, Had you not done, no, you couldn't take the title from Hogan at WrestleMania 6 from a heel. Um, I was gonna say take it from him at WrestleMania 6, but then you did the Hogan Warrior thing because Perfect was the last person eliminated from the Rumble that year. You could have done it then, or maybe at SummerSlam. But I think Hogan's undefeated at SummerSlam too. Yeah, Kidman and Hogan had a storyline against each other, which was so weird because then you had Tori Wilson kissing Hulk Hogan. It was WCW 2000 was a weird place. Screwy finish. I mean, that's to be expected from most Hogan matches where the heel wins. But yeah. Mike Gonzalez, I asked Jeff on his stream and want to know your thoughts. If Bret Hart didn't get hurt, do you think NWO 2000 could have worked with Nash, Hart, Steiner, and Jarrett? Possibly. Also, I think Hall was in there too briefly. But I think so. I thought the Scott Steiner feigned retirement angle was probably the best one until Mark Henry came along and did it better. But like I for sure thought that Steiner was going to retire with his promo. And then I had a sneaky suspicion when he came out is like, he's fine. Like when he came out later in the night during the main event segment. I was like, he's fine. Yeah, it had to have been like the Hulk Hogan and White and Black, but it wasn't NWO or Hollywood Hogan. It was like Shoot Hogan. It was like Terry Bollea. Again, WCW 2000 was a weird place. Greg Cherrymark, could Xavier Woods be in Retribution? He looked like he was under the mask. That would be cool. I mean, does that mean the end of the New Day then? If he's a part of a different group? It'd be very odd. I'd be supportive of it if he was like the leader and then like challenge somebody for the championship. Whoever that would be. Like imagine if like Big E won the Universal Championship and then had to defend it against Xavier Woods of Retribution. That would be sweet. I would like to see that. But again, I don't want to speculate on any of the Retribution people because if they want to switch them out, like we're never going to know the difference. So it's like, oh, well, this person was originally planned to be in Retribution, but they were pulled for whatever reason. It's like, okay, well, just let the story play out until the reveal. Because you know there's going to be a reveal at some point. Can you imagine if the leader of Retribution gets revealed and it was Woods, circa Beefcake as the Masked Man? I mean, that would be interesting, especially if it was E or Kofi to reveal him. Davi says, who did Rey Mysterio face in his debut match in ECW? Well, of course, he hits one of the weak spots of my trivia knowledge. I'm going to guess Psychosis. I'm not sure. I'll admit, I don't know that one offhand. But I think it's Psychosis. Would Rowan be a co-leader or a follower? Oh, an AEW with the Dark Order. I don't really know. I really don't want. I don't want Rowan with Harper. I don't. Because then you're just rehashing old stuff. It's like if they were together in WWE, don't put them together in AEW. In fact, I'd let like NWA or somebody pick him up instead of AEW. I don't want to see Roman in AEW. Because then I feel like the whole him and Brody Lee stuff will be rehashed. Debbie with a $2 super chat says, "Sorry, Greg. Was I wrong on that question or Impact? Yeah, well, Impact would be fine. He needs to make his own path somewhere. Ken, don't be begging for money from me for apologies. I don't need that. Mike Gonzalez, I think I might be the only person that thinks Bret Hart was better as a heel. Sarcastic Bret Hart is the best Bret Hart. Especially the El Dandy promo. Greg Cherry Mark says, have the Fiend attack Nicholas to build up the SummerSlam. Well, I mean, the thing is, I feel like Braun saying he doesn't give a damn about Alexa is kind of a heel act. Like, I watched that promo from SmackDown. I was like, shouldn't you be more upset about that? It makes me feel like there's going to be a double turn at SummerSlam. Like Alexa is the one to calm the Fiend down or something. For Second Street Matthew, who are you to doubt El Dandy? He's the highest flyer of the highest magnitude. And I think Sheamus turned face too. What is going on SmackDown? Everything's just weird. I feel like Corbin needs to drop the King gimmick. It was good for a while, but now he's floundering again. It's like Corbin is too good of a worker to just flounder and be a jobber to the stars. I still want Corbin to be champion. I'm holding on to that. Yeah, SmackDown is the land of random turns, and Show isn't there. Which, if Show was there, he'd be turning every week. Imagine if Corbin wins the Rumble, drops the King gimmick, and becomes the 2021 version of JBL. I would love to see Corbin be champion. Corbin winning the Rumble, I would pop so hard. But I doubt, like, if the Rumble is going to be one of the first shows to have fans back after all this pandemic crap, which I still think is going to clear up after the election. They're not going to talk about it much anymore. It'll be like, oh, well, what happened with that? It's like, oh, well, we just tried to... Never mind. No politics on the show. I'm going to try and keep that up for my show, but whatever. Greg Cherrymark, did you pop on Monday for Shane? You bet your sweet ass I did. I love me some Shane McMahon. Kobe talks about wrestling. What is Matt Riddle's ceiling? How far do you think he will go in his WWE career? Will he be a top superstar like Shawn Michaels? He's got that potential. He's kind of got the swagger of a 90s Shawn Michaels. So we will see. And I think once Corbin gets like a solid non-goofy gimmick, then he'll be able to succeed. I hope he's done better with it than Barrett has, so it's not the kiss of death for him. But you need to move on from the King gimmick. Sheamus did, and he was better off for it. Great cherry mark. Are you asking about Taker's streak and if Punk or Orton should have ended it? I think if anybody before Brock should have ended the streak, it should have been Orton at Mania 21. There wasn't really anybody that I thought could beat the streak after that. And I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan. We all know that. I didn't think Shawn was going to beat Taker. I thought for a brief second when I was at Mania 28 that Triple H was going to beat The Undertaker with the DX finish. Matt, no, Corbin is not still dressing like the Applebee's manager. He's actually got gear now. Better King, Regal, Corbin, or Booker? William Regal didn't get enough chance as a king because he got suspended shortly after. I like Corbin's run, but I think the most legendary run out of the three of them, as far as the king gimmick goes, is King Booker. King Booker. So yeah, I go for Booker and then Corbin and then Regal, and that's not in terms of like of the three of them overall careers who I like the best. That's just as far as the king gimmick goes. Booker's was the best. You heard Taker wanted Kurt Angle to beat the streak. I mean, if anybody could have done it after Orton, it could have been Kurt Angle, but Angle left the WWE later that year, so I don't know how that would have. Like, they probably would have given Kurt the freaking world if he would have beat Taker at Mania. I do miss Mr. Kennedy, though. I I know he was with the NWA for a little bit. I still want to see. I still want to see a Mr. Kennedy return at a Royal Rumble one year. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it, but one can hope. Do I think if Orton didn't hurt Mustafa Ali, he would have got the push instead of Kofi? That's very hard to say because the Kofi Mania thing was so organic. I don't know if you would have been able to replicate that with Mustafa Ali. And I like Mustafa Ali, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he had that much of a push behind him to face Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. I really don't. Who's a better king, King Booker or the Macho King? Well, Macho King kind of got relegated to the mid card for a while. King Booker became world champion, so figure that out. I would just like to see Mr. Anderson / Mr. Kennedy back in WWE. Again, I don't know if it'll ever happen. The stuff with Orton happened 11 years ago. They're going to have to let that go. Orton's still wrestling, so clearly it wasn't any long-term issue. But sometimes WWE can be petty with certain things. But they've brought back people who've done far worse to them, so I don't know the answer to that. I'd be down for a MVP versus Kennedy feud if Kennedy came back. Um, I remember in TEW I made MVP and Kennedy a heel tag team. I mean, they kind of were a heel tag team against the Brothers of Destruction for a little bit. Greg Cherrymark says, better match if it happened. Jericho versus Owen or The Rock versus Shawn. I would still love to see The Rock versus Shawn. I think there were more seeds planted. Technically, Jericho and Owen probably would have been the superior wrestling match. But I personally would have loved to see Shawn versus The Rock more. Adrian says Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy is overrated. I'll give you this. Kennedy was not the best in-ring worker. He was solid, but he wasn't, like, spectacular by any means. I just love the guy's personality. Ken, don't be abusing your mod powers. I went over this. All right. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to promote the Greg Cherry Show, which is coming to the Greg Cherry brand in just over 2 weeks' time. August 24th, the day after SummerSlam, will be its first episode. It will be available on various social media platforms, so follow me all the places. Facebook.com/GregCherryBrand, YouTube.com/GregCherryBrand, Twitter and Instagram @GregCherryBrand. I'm going to try to stream as many places as I possibly can, as well as getting audio up for a podcast version, so that you don't necessarily have to watch the video, but the video probably gives you a little more context as to what's going on. Now, Wrestling Trivia Challenge is, of course, on the Greg Cherry brand. Filming this Saturday will be the newest episode, possibly, of Luck of the Draw. So I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be a hectic week, and that's part of the reason this is my last stream now, because I need all week to prepare for this, and then I need a mental break after that. So this is going to be an insane week for me personally, but Luck of the Draw is happening again. So follow me on all the social media platforms. Go subscribe to the Greg Cherry brand on YouTube. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers there, so that's awesome. And tell your friends and neighbors, even if they're not wrestling fans, because it's not just going to be catered to wrestling fans. I'm going to try to appeal to a broader audience. I know a lot about wrestling, but I know some stuff about other things too. So I think that everybody should go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Greg Cherry Brand. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, especially the Twitter follows. Like that's apparently a big thing to get on Quizlemania, is to follow me on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, go there right now. Pause this, go to your Twitter app on your phone, type in Greg Cherry Brand, go follow me there. Tell your friends and family to follow me. You won't regret it. You really won't. What's up, Zach? How you doing? Ken, what are you doing? Ken, listen to me. Don't abuse your mod powers. Okay? Unless I say something that particularly that I don't care to see, don't time them out. I might have Aaron look into your stuff if you keep doing that. I understand, but gotta have thicker skin. All right, Ken? Chill. Adrian's not bothering anybody. Can you see the women doing a Punjabi prison match? I don't know why that would... Why would you want to? The Punjabi prison match is particularly used, and it sounds kind of... I don't mean this to come away as like racist or anything, but only when there's an Indian in the match. Somebody from India. I know the first one was Big Show, but it was supposed to be Kali. Like, it's Kali's match. Jinder did the last one with Orton. It's like there's no reason for the women to do a Punjabi prison match, because it's very much a match made for people from India. There's no other reason to have it. I'm surprised that they never did put the Punjabi prison match in a video game. Maybe because it wasn't around very often. But at least give us the option to do the match type. Warhawk Rambo says, if Ronda Rousey comes back, do a women's Lions Den match. I mean, that's possible. First of all, I think Rousey back on TV. If Ronda wants to come back to WWE, I think it'll be one of those things. She's not going to be there unless there are fans there. Straight up. And Becky's not there either, so Ronda can't exactly get her revenge on Becky for WrestleMania. So that might be a story further down the road. If we see Rousey at all within the next year, I'm going to make the prediction it's not going to be until after WrestleMania this year. Like this coming. After WrestleMania 37. Yeah, 2K did kind of ruin everything, didn't they? As far as games go. The last one I got was 2K19, but that was because of the $1 Million Challenge, which I think ended up being a giant work anyway. But this guy experienced with the $2 Super Chat. Who's the greatest storyline cheater of all time? Eddie. Eddie cheated blatantly and made it look good. Flair was a good one, obviously. I mean, Flair was the dirtiest player of all time. The dirtiest player in the game. But Eddie just made it so entertaining. And, like, it was blatant. It was absolutely blatant that he cheated. But it was so funny. It was so funny. I miss Eddie. I know everybody misses Eddie, but damn, I miss Eddie. Battlegrounds does look interesting. It puts me in mind of the All-Stars game they came out with like 10 years ago. 10, 11, somewhere around there. I feel like it was 10. But we'll see. I hope they learn from their experiences and they actually put out a solid 2022 game. All right. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. What NFL division would win if all 4 teams were put together in 2020? I always say the AFC North, and I know I'm biased. But if you take the best players from the AFC North, if you put... Everybody's saying Lamar Jackson's one of the best players in the NFL. So take Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, put him as the quarterback, and you have solid receiving core with the Browns and the Steelers and whatever the Bengals have. Because the Bengals are like, eh. So you kind of just take from the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens. Now, don't get me wrong. It's very hard to say because it's all about individual matchups when it comes to football. So you can have your best O-line, your best D-line, and it just depends. Like, if your best D-line overpowers your O-line, then your offense isn't going to do a whole lot. That's such a hard question. It's such a good question. I'd pick the AFC North because I'm biased, if I'm going to be honest. All right, Ken. For the rest of the stream, unless I point something out, don't don't time anybody out. Okay? This is my last stream. I want to go out on a good note. I don't want everybody to be salty. Or anybody to be salty, really. Let's have fun. This is supposed to be a fun stream, guys. I feel like a teacher disciplining. NFC West could have 4 playoff teams since they added an extra wild card spot. I mean, it's possible any division, well, maybe not the AFC North because the Bengals are terrible. It's possible that any division could have 4 teams in there because the 17 playoff for each conference is the best record and then the 6 best teams after that. Like it ignores the, hey, you win your conference or you win your division, you're in the playoffs guaranteed. Or is that still a thing? Like the top 4 are the best of the division, and then you take your top 3 after. I need to look at how that's set up, and I don't think that applies this year. I think that's next year. Warhawk Rambo, Redskins here. The who? The Washington football team. Yeah, are you telling me that a bunch of creative people sat in a room and they couldn't come up with anything better than Washington football team? It's like somebody just gathered a bunch of bananas, oranges, and apples. It's like, what do we call this? Oh, we're just going to call this the fruit basket. That's exactly what it is. Like, you couldn't come up with... It's like you're so scared of offending people, you had to just be completely obvious of what you were. Whatever. 46 and Stream Matthew with the $10 super chat. Let's get another spin going. Oh, bah. No bankrupts on this. Entrance, Matt. That's what I'm hitting all the time. That's fine. Yeah, cancel culture is very stupid. I'll go into that in more detail on the Greg Cherry Show. I'm sure I'll cover that. Yeah, I do feel bad for the people that hit bankrupt before. It's like, you know, I don't. It's like you paid money. Like, I'm not Scopely. I'm not gonna like make you pay money and then not give you anything. I say after I pull 4-star bronze the man Becky Lynch yesterday. So Matt, what entrance do you want? Disco Inferno's WCW entrance. Nice deep cut. Nice. Mike Gonzalez says, are you keeping the wheel when you start your show? I haven't decided. Because since it's not completely wrestling focused, and because I probably want to try to appeal to subscribers, I don't, or sponsors rather, I don't really know. I might do like a once a month stream, like a weekend stream, to bring these back. But as far as the Greg Cherry Show, I don't know. I honestly don't know. All right, so Disco Inferno entrance coming up. The This Guy Experience. Is the Greg Cherry Show going to be like this? It's actually going to be... It's going to look more professional than this. I'm going to at least try. Because this setup is kind of very amateurish. I want to make it look like an actual presentable show. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. But I have a little bit of time to decide that. Okay. So here we go. Disco Fever. Yeah. me earn it today. I don't think I've done the disco entrance before. I don't want to play Raid Shadow Legends. I don't. Quit. Crying out loud. Stay. Nathan Banks, do you see the LA Lakers winning the title this year? I don't follow basketball, so I'm going to say no. I legit have no idea. This guy experienced. So this is the last show. Yeah, this is the last live stream on this channel for me. And it's nothing like I'm not mad at like anybody at No DQ, so I don't want anybody to think that. It's just a personal decision. I just feel like I need to grow my own brand. That's all it is, really. How many versions of the NWO were there? Well, there was the original, then there was the Wolfpack, and then you had like the B team with like Stevie Ray and Vincent and those guys. Then you had the Latino World Order. Then you had the Blue World Order, which is ECW. Then you had the NWO 2000. Then you had the NWO and WWE and a bunch of them. And NWO Japan also. There was that. Yeah, I don't... Matt says I'll definitely be continuing to watch on the Cherry Brand page. Well, I appreciate that. I look forward to having a bunch of people that have watched me before, and then potentially new people watching. I'm looking to gain a different audience. Some of the same audience, but you know, as much of an audience as I can grow. Glorious. No, I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend. I will defend. Thank you, Nathan Banks, for the subscription. Greg Cherrymark says, Greg, I saw you at McDonald's in a priest. I tried to say hey, but you grabbed your food and left. If you mean a Prius, I don't own a Prius. As far as the No DQ videos, it really depends on my availability. They moved the review to Tuesdays, which is my poker night, so I can't be on those because I'm not home. Pay-per-view predictions will really depend on my availability. I'll still be a part of the No DQ team. I'm just not doing these particular videos anymore. Who do you think has the best punch ever in wrestling? If not the, then who are some of the best? And yes, Matt did go to college with me. He knows how many times we took over the pool table when nobody was using it to play poker. Until somebody yelled at us and it's like, oh, you can't use this. People are playing pool. And then nobody played pool on it for like 4 weeks when I was in there. It was like, piss off. If you're not going to play pool, then don't bitch about when we play poker. At least the table's getting some use. Best punch ever in wrestling. Yeah, I know Matt Hardy has a good worked punch. I've always liked his for some reason. Shane McMahon. No, I'm kidding. I love Shane, but he throws potatoes. Let's That's a good question. Who has the best punch in wrestling? Um, that's a good question. I gotta think about that. I mean, Regal had a good punch, but he threw mostly forearms. The Rock had good punches. Undertaker always had good punches. I mean, there's a good list. If you think of people whose punches are iconic, you think like The Rock, Undertaker, Hogan to some extent, but his were not like his were blocked mostly. Um, Kane did have a good punch too. There's so many options. Um, it's just a lot. Savage also had good punches too. I like Savage's punches. Um, as are Brett's. Again, so many people to choose from. Um, Greg Cherry Mark asks, best heel to never win a world championship. Shane McMahon. No, I mean, I would have loved to seen Shane win the world championship, but probably. I can't even say Ravishing Rick Rude because technically he was WCW International World Champion, so that technically counts as a world championship. Um, Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow would have been a good world champion. Adrian with another €10 super chat. This is for Ken to show that there's no bad blood. Well, there you go. We're getting along here on the Greg Cherries stream. All right, Adrian, let's see if I can hit yet another entrance. And something I've only hit once, 20 push-ups. Okay. It would help if I would breathe. You might not be able to hear me. Might help if I was able to breathe instead of, whatever. 10 more. I forget that spot's on the wheel till I hit it. All right. See, the Beachbody workouts help with that because I have to do push-ups with those all the time. Do you like Bradshaw's punches? Well, Blue Meanie doesn't. Mike Gonzalez, sorry if you have already answered this, but are you and Jeff still doing Wrestling Rewind? Yeah. We put it on hiatus for a couple weeks because Jeff tested for COVID and wasn't able to do it or whatever. He's been negative since then, but and then also I was out of town last week, so I wasn't able to record much of anything. Actually, I wasn't able to record anything. So there's that. But yeah, we're looking to get back to it this Wednesday. I'm just hoping that I'll have most of my planning for Luck of the Draw this week done before then. It's just getting everything for the game. Big Baller G, I'm trying to get Justin Roberts to do introductions at my wedding next year. That's awesome. Good luck with that. That'd be awesome. Cody Fosterling, favorite finisher of all time. I mean, the Sweet Chin music seems so basic, but I don't think it's my favorite finisher of all time. Well, currently, it's the End of Days. That's not all time, it's just currently. I was always a big fan of the Razor's Edge. I don't know anybody who's... Has anybody ever kicked out of the Razor's Edge from Scott Hall? I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever seen it. Unless there's matches of his I haven't seen, but I don't know if anybody's kicked out of it. RKO. I mean, yeah, that one should be obvious. I did that when I was backyarding. Yeah, 42nd Street Matthew. I agree that the super kick is overdone. The DDT is overdone. The Canadian Destroyer should not be as overdone as it is. It is absurd how many people do the damn Canadian Destroyer. Petey Williams is probably having an aneurysm somewhere that his incredibly popular finisher is now a transitional move. Like, guys, the fact that so many damn people do the Canadian Destroyer as just like a high, cool spot, it's so disgusting. Yeah, Sheamus did do the Razor's Edge, or the High Cross, or whatever he called it. Vertebreaker. Oh, jeez. Where's Shupik when I need him? He always threatens to give me the Vertebreaker through a table. I was like, you're not giving me the Vertebreaker. Pass. One Wing Angel isn't a bad move. I really think the V-Trigger should be his finisher. That one looks more devastating. Yeah, the Vertebreaker... Or... What did was it Homicide or Hernandez? I think it was Homicide who did the Gringo Killer Vertebreaker, same thing. But damn, you land on that wrong, you're paralyzed. mean, there was probably a reason that Shane Helms had to quit using that move because, again, you land wrong, it could be disastrous. Same with the Styles Clash. I mean, people, if you've ever seen that clip of AJ Styles doing the Styles Clash, and this is like early TNA, and the guy is like tucking his chin. Okay, pro tip. If you're ever going to take a Styles Clash, do not tuck your chin. Don't do it. Curtis Butler says, I'll take Naomi's finish. Damn. She's a married woman, Curtis. Mike Gonzalez, would you consider the Trouble in Paradise a super kick? No. A super kick is just basically like Sweet Chin Music. That's a super kick. Trouble in Paradise is like a... My dog's upset about something. The Trouble in Paradise is... No, it's not a super kick. I wouldn't consider it a super kick. I need to, whenever I get my cable back, because I had to like get rid of it because I wasn't making an income, I need to start watching AEW some more. I catch some of the stuff, like I caught the Orange Cassidy Chris Jericho thing, and that was entertaining. That was a good segment. But I need to catch more of their in-ring stuff. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. I can't wait until the new version of your show. I like this version, but there's nothing wrong with a little change. Yeah, I need to like film all this stuff for my intro, and I have a lot of production to do as far as like segments for the show and whatnot. But hopefully, and get used to StreamYard because I'm not super familiar with it, but I'll probably run some tests. 42nd Street, Matthew, you really do. It's been really consistently good for over a few months now. Also, Orange Cassidy has won me over. I say that and I'm a Jim Cornette fan. Orange Cassidy, let's face it, got the Chris Jericho treatment. Jericho saw something in him, and Jericho can get anybody or anything over. And my goodness, has he done it with Cassidy. Wouldn't it be something? And I'm going to throw this out here. I want to see what you guys think of this, because the show's almost over, but I'm at least going to do like a final conclusion. What if this feud with Orange Cassidy is designed to get Cassidy over, so that when MJF does defeat Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship, I'm calling that shot now, when MJF wins the championship and holds on to it for a few months, what if Orange Cassidy is the guy to beat MJF for the AEW World Championship? When AEW started, I never thought that would be a sentence I would say. But how much sense does that make? What do you guys think? This guy experienced with a $2 super chat. Please go over the changes between your shows again. So this show is basically wrestling talk. I mean, this is on Aaron's channel. It's a wrestling channel. It's basically wrestling talk. The way the Great Cheers show is going to be set up, first of all, it's going to have a different look. The camera angle is going to be different. But I'm also going to talk about more than just wrestling. I'm going to talk about sports. I'm going to talk about news and stuff that's popular. I'm going to try to avoid politics because that's a cesspool that I don't really want to travel down. But I'm going to try and have some entertaining segments in between. It's not just going to be live and me talking. Hopefully, once the show picks up a little bit, I'm going to have some people on for interviews and other segments. And realistically, I want this show to be as interactive and enjoyable as possible so that more people will engage with the content. So it's not so niche. Because wrestling in and of itself is a very niche thing. But when you have stuff that more people are interested in, more people want to talk about, and is very diverse, you broaden your appeal for an audience. So that's where the shows differ. I need to film a couple segments for the first couple shows. I'll probably do that this week, so I have time to edit them. But hopefully you guys enjoy the presentation that's going to be. And also, I'm probably going to move this bed. We got people staying here for Luck of the Draw coming up this weekend. And I'll probably move that out of the way somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to move it to. But I'm going to move that out of the way so I can do a proper show and have the camera focused on me so I'm not turning my head all the time. Because this is a little bit of a pain if you can't tell. This guy experience. So you can still send super chats and comments. Yeah, you can still comment on it. Until I hit like the 1,000 threshold, you can't send super chats through YouTube. But I can put up the link. I think it's up here that you can still donate through Streamlabs. So you can still do that if you want. But it's going to be one of those things where it might not be immediate because on my channel I still have a few things I have to work on. Aaron has over 50,000 subscribers and has videos played all the time, so he doesn't have a problem hitting those monetization limits. I do, so that's why I need more people to subscribe and more people to watch my stuff. But we'll take care of that. We'll take care of that when the time comes. Yeah, Streamlabs doesn't take a whole lot of the donations. They take a very small percentage. YouTube is insane. And yeah, the show's gonna be live of This Guy Experience. So I will be able to, if I don't figure out StreamYard and make it do what I want it to do, then I'll probably just stick with Streamlabs. Yeah, it's like Antonio Corelli or something like that for Santino Marella. But I doubt Santino would show up on AEW television, but I've been proven wrong before. All right, so we're gonna close the show out here. For everybody who's been watching the streams on the No DQ channel, who win a street fight, Curtis, Ken, or me? Depends on who's able to get the weapons first. As the dog barks, because he always does. That's going to be interesting to deal with come the live shows. But anyway. SN1281, want a karaoke Real American for a close? I mean, I probably could. If somebody sends $10, I'll karaoke it for the end. But we're gonna close the show out here, and if I get that last super chat, then I'll sing Real American to close the show. But again, very important, since this is my last solo stream on the No DQ channel, please go subscribe to youtube.com/GregCherryBrand, Twitter and Instagram @GregCherryBrand, Facebook.com/GregCherryBrand. Basically, if you see Greg Cherry Brand somewhere, that's me. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And of course, I haven't plugged it much during this, but I need to do some design work so I can come up with a new design for my show coming up here in a couple weeks. teespring.com/store/Greg Cherry Brand. All right. We're going to sing Real American to go off the air. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you, SN1281, for the super chats. Just texted my wife. Apparently got the guy for siding is here. Say it was going to be here 3 hours ago, but hey, whatever. Oh, that's terrible. I need to find a good karaoke version, so give me a minute. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand, you don't have to hide. I screwed up already. Well, you hurt my friends and you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I feel strong about right and wrong. Ooh, yeah. And I don't take trouble for very long. I got something deep inside of me. Courage is the thing that keeps us free. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. Well, you hurt my friends and you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. Ladies and gentlemen, the Greg Cherry live stream is now over. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. 42nd Street, Matthew, how much to tear the shirt on camera? $1,000. No. Again. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on the show. Follow me on those social media at Greg Cherry Brand. Follow YouTube at Greg Cherry Brand, teespring.com/store/Greg Cherry Brand. And I will see you in 2 weeks, the day after SummerSlam, on the Greg Cherry Show. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you then. Take it easy.